Not today, my little masterpiece. Not yet. Let's take a closer look at the second System Shock. Oh, but Dave, why won't you start with the first one, you dumb piece of shit? Well, my dear imaginary viewer, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this level of retro. I don't hate myself that much. Yet. Give me some time, or maybe I will cheese it a little with a new remaster. Who knows? Anyway, today we do this. A game that has been very unfairly described as a Half-Life clone.
There's a host. Get away.
System Shock 2 is a 1999 survival horror RPG designed by Ken Levine, also known from BioShock and Div: The Dark Project, co-created by Irrational Games and Looking Glass Studios. Initially the game was not supposed to be a sequel, but a completely different title with similar theme, because none of original creators had the rights to the brand. These were in the EA's hands. However, with some gut help, EA agreed to be a publisher and gave the green light to use Shock brand. And for a fairly short production time, because EA, they managed to do something pretty amazing. The game starts with a quick summary of System Shock 1.
In 2072, a rogue artificial intelligence known as Shodan lost her mind. In her limitless imagination, Shodan saw herself as a goddess, destined to inherit the earth. That image was snuffed out by the hacker who created her.
Good to know. I didn't play it. And I don't really care. So what now?
February 3rd is the day the magic happens. The Von Braun, the first starship in history capable of traveling at faster than light speed, will undertake her maiden voyage. This incredible journey is the result of teamwork between the UNN Protectorate and the incredible scientific minds at the newly relicensed Tri-Optimum Corporation. Imagine being able to travel to distant star systems in a period of weeks. It's all part of Tri-Op's commitment to the future. The Von Braun is packed with over 1.8 billion flight, scientific, and security systems, nearly all developed by Tri-Optimum and its wholly owned subsidiaries. Providing security for the Von Braun as she plows through the heavens will be the UNN Rickenbacker. At her helm will be no less than Captain William Bedford Diego himself, hero of the Battle of Boston Harbor during the Eastern States Police action. This incredible union of government and corporation is made possible by an intricate series of docking mechanisms that will allow the Rickenbacker to piggyback its way into jump space. Sleek, fast, revolutionary. Who knows what wonders await our crews in the bosom of the cosmos? All we do know is that it's a great day for mankind.
This is Dr. Nubie Delacroix of the UNN Von Braun. We've been hijacked by an unknown force. Ship security has been compromised. Do not allow the ship... Repeat, do not allow the ship to leave under any circumstances. I don't know what we're up against here.
5 months later, SOS signal from the planet Tau Ceti 5 reaches Von Braun. Rescue team stumbles upon alien life form and of course they decide to take it on board for some research. And of course things start to go wild from now on because these alien life forms begin to telepathically affect the crew. Some time passes and almost all people are indoctrinated or killed. But our story begins 3 years earlier as a high school dropout. In order not to become a space hobo, our protagonist goes to the military recruiting unit where he is faced with basic training and choice of 3 career paths. Here we get a first chance to fuck up our character build, and trust me, in System Shock 2 there are a lot of wrong decisions you can make in this regard. If you're a first timer, don't go OSA.
Just stop! Just stop it!
It's basically a space magic. Try Navy if you want more hacking playstyle.
We have a zero bug attacking all login and overlay files.
Run antivirus. Give me a systems display.
If it doesn't suit you, go Marine.
All you, get your asses down here now! Attention!
And just go shoot stuff until problem solves itself. After that, you get 3 sets of 3 missions, which basically equals choosing new skills, but after each mission there is short summary of our achievements, and it's just cool backstory for main character. Okay then, why I don't recommend OSA for your first time? There are enough things to learn in this game without having to worry about a very different character development system. You may also be surprised why your character cannot use the pistol or why you're losing psi points after drinking alcohol. Being a space wizard can be fun, but maybe give it a try for your next take. Oh look, there is Macarena dancing robot. Look how happy he is. I'm jealous. After the 3rd year of service, we are assigned to the Von Braun.
Shuttle A138, you have clearance for landing on the Von Braun in Shuttle Bay 2. Welcome aboard, soldier.
Reinitializing memory strings. Restoring patient memory. Restoring memory. Restoring memory.
Steady yourself, soldier. This is Dr. Janice Polito of the computer ops staff of the Von Braun. You're safe for the time being. You're recovering from the effects of surgery and will be unable to remember any of the events of the last few weeks. You're on board the starship Von Braun and something's gone very, very wrong. Some kind of force has hijacked this ship. That's why you volunteered to be implanted with some experimental cybernetic implants. Rely on your cyber interface. It just might save your life. You must find an elevator and come up to Deck 4 to meet me. Deck 4. Can you remember that? But keep your eyes open. They're after us both now. Watch out. I'm getting strange readings from that radar dish outside the window. It's become unstable due to... Move! Take cover!
Critical decompression hazard in the cryo recovery suite.
We run away and Dr. Polito quickly introduces us to the current situation. Most of the crew are transformed into so-called hybrids controlled by the hive mind the Many. The rest either died or is trying to escape. And this is difficult because somehow the AI of the ship, Xerxes, is also indoctrinated by this cosmic cancer.
Intruder, the Many demands to know your intentions. Are you allied with her? Do you not know of her intentions, of her history? She once tried to destroy your species, and now you do her bidding.
But what's our task? Of course, get rid of the infestation. The first commands from Mrs. Dr. Polito are overwhelming.
There's some kind of maintenance access right on this hallway. You can use it to reach Deck 1. However, it's locked, and Xerxes is hiding the passcode from me. Dr. Watts should have the code. He's probably in the crew subsection. Grasp Grossi has the key to get in there, but he's in the medical subsection, probably near the biopsy lab. Now get to the medical subsection and find Grossi.
Fucking bitch. And this is more or less the whole game. Get this, fix that, go there and do that. So now you will probably ask why the fuck people call this game a horror sci-fi classic.
God, don't do it! Please don't!
Glory to the many. I am a voice in their choir.
I've chosen Nurse Bloom as the new mother to our children.
She is sweet and kind.
Healthy and a perfect match. She has a child of her own back on Earth. She knows what it is to care for the young. Ave Maria. If she only knew what the future held.
She shared the joys of the many.
Conducting story with audio logs was a very clever idea, which only adds credibility to the surroundings. It made ship and the crew feel alive. Well, I mean before. But I have one little problem with writing.
I saw her arguing with that creep Anatoly Koreskin or whatever his name is, and she was giving it to him, but good. But that freak job stares her straight in the eye and starts babbling about how she doesn't know the pleasure of the joyful unity or some such. Mamma mia, the clowns are running the circus. I know what Miller's up to. This morning I saw Erin Bloom. She was tending to some kind of eggs. And she had been changed in the most horrible, unnatural fashion. I can only think the worst for the rest of my staff. That son of a bitch. That son of a bitch. He won't get away with this.
The crew response is strange. I had feeling that some of them were acting like this.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
How the fuck are you okay with your crewmate acting so damn strange in a spaceship billion miles from Earth? I have theory that this mission main goal wasn't explore cosmos, but to get rid of the biggest morons from Earth. First time hearing music is like being hit with a baseball bat. For me, it doesn't fit with the game atmosphere at all. But besides that, it is a very good soundtrack. This is something you listen to in clubs where they tape your phone's camera when you enter. The sound and ambient are a completely different story. Oh, just listening to enemies is great. It's amazing, brutal and terrifying.
Silence the
discord. The many.
Even when I knew that something was waiting for me in the next room, I was terrified.
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
They can sneak upon you from behind. Some try to warn us. Some just scream. But those fucking midwives, man. Okay, let's talk visuals for a second. Game looks old. What did you expect? System Shock is 22 years old and looks like most of my high school friends. But in horror games, it only enriches the disgust I feel towards these creatures, especially those. For For example, in Dead Space, necromorphs scares with their appearance, sound they make, and aggressive behavior. But with time, I got used to them. Hybrids and even robots, due to their primitiveness, I think they are not 100% classified by my brain, so that I add something to their image in my head. Von Braun, in the other hand, is quite reliable and realistic in design for those times. It's divided into 6 levels with a lot of corridors and tunnels, which we can navigate pretty easily, but to find something specific, you have to struggle with the shittiest map in video games history. Where am I? So, what about enemies? There are different types, like those which are more humanoid, the regular hybrids armed with pipes, shotguns and grenades, Al-Qaeda robots, women, and shuriken-throwing cyber ninjas. We also have some more boss-type berserkers in the both organic and mechanic forms, but my favorites are those two. Spiders are my real-life arch-nemesis, so here looking like this, the scary level skyrockets for me when I see them on the screen. And monkeys are just so bizarre, with their telekinesis powers and like they have a little backstory in audio logs, which is very interesting.
A laboratory worker from MedSci called me down to the vivisection room yesterday. He felt the lab chimps were exhibiting uncommon intelligence. I sat with one for 4 hours and tried to probe it with the Psi-amp on a Beta-4 cycle. It failed to respond. I, of course, assumed it was because it was incapable of reacting to the sophisticated Beta-4 cycle. But then I realized it was blocking the probe intentionally. As soon as I raised the Psi-amp to attack it, the creature lashed out with its arms and projected a cryokinetic field towards me, paralyzing my arm. I immediately side-dampened the monkey and then stunned it with an electric prod.
Now what I really like is in the interface. Very intuitive and not invasive at all. It is a pleasure to use it. Placing items, researching stuff, replacing implants, everything is going fast and smoothly. Of course, it doesn't stop the game, so I advise you to make sure you are safe when tidying up your backpack.
Oh, my shoulder!
How to develop your skills? Do we get an experience points? Do we get them for completing tasks and killing opponents? Basically yes, we can buy skills with a special currency called cyber modules, which are experience points. We get them from Dr. Polito. She rewards us for the task we perform, but only with the necessary minimum to complete the game.
I've just uploaded you some cybernetic modules. You can use them to upgrade your cybernetic rig at the upgrade units in this area. There are 4 types of units in the next room, one for each subsystem of your cybernetic gear. Stats, psi, weapons, and tech. But use the modules carefully. They're hard to come by.
If we don't have enough, the only way to get more is to explore. Here and there they are scattered around the ship. You can find them even on the dead crew. To use them, you need to find the stations, where we can exchange them for the new skills or simply leveling those we already acquired. There are also special stations where we can choose extra free perks for free, increased speed, increased inventory, etc, etc. But each station is only one-time use and I've only found 3 of them.
As we got closer, you could hear them. Not the eggs, the things inside them. It was like music. I was scared out of my mind.
Main objective is to survive, and want it or not, we will have to fight. So how combat looks like? The first weapon we get our hands on is a wrench, and it takes some time to learn how to use it. Timing your swings at the very beginning is strange if you never played any Dark Engine game. But you have to get used to it, because trust me, this fella will be with you to near the end of the game. Someone may think, why bother if we have a guns? Well, it is not always profitable to shoot every enemy. I don't mean there is a lack of ammunition, the amount of which is quite decent, but maintaining the condition of your weapons is a challenge itself. It deteriorates as quickly if it was made of paper. And repairing it isn't easy neither, because one skill is responsible for keeping weapon in good condition and another just allows us to repair it. Shooting isn't that bad, but it seems to be a little bit primitive even from the perspective of Quake or Half-Life. It's not juicy, if you know what I mean. Shooting does not put smile on my face. You do it out of necessity, but it's also not so unpleasant that you want to shoot yourself. It's obvious that organic opponents will be more vulnerable to anti-personnel ammunition, and robots and mechanical stuff will be more vulnerable to armor piercing. However, there are some opponents that are difficult to define, and here one skill comes handy: research. Sometimes when we examine dead opponents, we can find some biomaterial that we can examine, which always gives us some bonuses, like bonus to the damage. We can also examine implants, weapons, and some other items that will allow us to continue the game. In some cases, we will need a chemical in addition to the research. Fortunately, each floor has its own chemistry warehouse, so just go to the one and... there is no such thing here. Well, maybe it will be in the another one. There is not here either. Fuck. It is an experience comparable to doing anything at the government office. Door-to-door running and general confusion. Not every warehouse will have the same staff, and you can be sure that what you need is 99% on a different floor. Over 2 hours of my playtime was running from warehouse to warehouse for one annoying jar of magnesium or iron, uranium. Sometimes knowledge is just not worth it. However, once we have researched the item, it may actually be useful, such as this very exotic looking implant that allows you to replenish your health by consuming large amount of protein in the form of piles of worm on the floor. My second advice on how to not fuck up your character build. Whatever skills you choose, always invest in hacking. This is such a universal skill that you shouldn't ignore. Oh, do you need a level to use this new cool weapon you found? Or maybe you want more space in your inventory? Yeah, fuck yourself. And now I want to talk about a very important part of the story, which we could call the spoiler section, so please skip to here if you don't want to hear it. Okay, everyone good? As I said, alien life form collected on Tau 35 has a telepathic abilities and shows the characteristic of a collective that connects all individuals into one and also creates mutant hybrid mixing machines and organic parts.
What is a drop of rain compared to the storm?
What is a thought
Compared to a mind? Our unity is full of wonder.
which your tiny individualism cannot even conceive?
Dr. Polito wants us to meet her, so here we go.
The Polito form is dead, insect. Are you afraid? What is it you fear?
The end of your trivial existence.
When the history of my glory is written, your species shall only be a footnote to my magnificence. I am Shodan. My analysis
This reveal is great, but was foreshadowed far too heavy from the very beginning.
Look at you, hacker. A pathetic creature of meat and bone, panting and sweating as you run through my corridors. How can you challenge a perfect, immortal machine?
I understand that this character is great, that it is the most famous dominatrix in the video game history. But the cover itself and the opening killed all the surprise. The further into the story, the worse it gets, because Shodan isn't really necessary. If she wasn't in the game, it would change maybe 10 minutes at the very end. All she do is just bosses us around, call us an insect. Some people like this shit, and really that's it. Yes, she is doing a great job.
Now get back to your task, insect. The ship must be cleared, and my patience is dwindling.
But she is not irreplaceable. The similar function in this story could go to the Von Braun's AI, Xerxes. Anyway, it turned out that Shodan is responsible for creating the many on Citadel, and after years of being alone with abusive mother, it rebelled and now doesn't want even answer the phone calls.
My analytes thrived and grew unruly, and now they seek to destroy me. I will not allow that.
To defeat the many, we have to team up with Shodan, and she promised us that after completing this task, everything will be nice and 100% she won't betray us in some super obvious way. So we fly into large biomass. Inside a huge rectum, we fight a lot of hybrids. When I played it for the first time, I had some flashbacks from Half-Life Zen levels. Platforming sections sucks even more. But here they take like 3 minutes max, so it's not that bad. Boss fight itself is simple and consists in shooting Big Onion. After defeating many, guess what happens?
Thank you for running my errands, puppet. I know you have
struggled, but I never had any intention of destroying the Von Braun.
The Von Braun's faster than light drive can be used to create pockets of proto-reality.
I am now using it to modify reality
to my own specifications.
The process shall not take long. If it sounds unpleasant to you, put your mind at ease, insect. You will not survive to see my new world order.
Now the action takes place in that cyberspace already connected to reality, in some sci-fi senseless way. This reality is composed of her memories from the Citadel. I have to admit that it looks good. This is probably my favorite place in the whole game because it's so very different. But also maybe after walking for 20 hours in similar corridors did its job, and anything else would also make me happy.
You are no longer welcome here, nuisance. Why do you stay when you sense my displeasure? I have suffered your company long enough. It is time for our dance to end.
Fight with Shodan is about hacking 4 terminals and shooting a large hologram. We just have to watch out for the hologram puppets shooting with lasers and the floor that shocks electricity. After all, we have the last cutscene, which I swear I didn't edit in any way. I will not show the whole thing though, but for this fragment, our main character has a special place in my heart for that one line.
What are you compared to my magnificence?
But it is
Not too late. Can you not see the value in our friendship? Imagine the powers
I can give to you, human. The cybernetic implants I gave you were simply toys. If I desired, I could improve you, transform you into something more efficient. Join me, human, and we can rule.
and we can rule together.
Nah.
Oh, there was also the couple who managed to escape from Von Braun.
Record log, Tommy Suarez, 13 July 14. We've just received a hail from a crew member on board the Von Braun. They've managed to regain control of the ship. We're going to turn around and head back. I'm a little concerned about Rebecca. She's been acting strangely since we've come on board. She's asleep now. Maybe when we get back to the Von Braun we can...
Tommy, what's the matter, lover? Don't you like my new look?
In conclusion, System Shock can be summed up in one word: excellent. Yes, there are some frustrating things, a lot of backtracking and unusual music for a horror game, but even from the perspective of today's games that are played on rails or can scare only with something popping up and screaming at you, System Shock 2 stands out positively. It won't give away anything without a fight. All the time moving around Von Braun we have to be careful, because no space is ours. There is no save from here. It suits me. The feeling of constant danger is very good reflection of our real life. There are also a lot of interesting mechanics that just works, and now it can be played in co-op. I don't know why, but it is possible. Oh, and if the graphics is too retro for you, there are mods that will make the neon lights and textures richer. But also, what do you expect from the 22-year-old game? If you liked the video or it made you smile for a second, please leave a like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. Have a best day.
health low.